Hello, everyone, and good evening. I'm the assistant principal of the high school, Dr. Greenberg, and I would like to welcome you to our Global 9 Honors Informational Session. With us tonight is a ninth grade school counselor, Miss Sori, and I have folks coming into my door, so if you hear dogs barking, I very much so apologize. So, Miss Sori's here. She's a wonderful ninth grade counselor, as well as Mr. Beretta. And it has been a challenging 2 years, and I'm so proud of you for keeping up with your academics and expressing interest in advanced coursework. It is hard to believe that you actually have begun your high school journey already, having taken 2 high school courses, algebra and living environment. So you're really way on your way in solidifying your high school transcript. So high school is so much more than the academics alone. There is sports, social life, and other experiences. And with that, please be rest assured that our high school team is ready to support you with your new endeavors. Mr. Beretta is taking over for Miss McCauley, who's retiring this year. And let me tell you that aside from being a huge car enthusiast, Mr. Beretta lives and dreams history. It is his first year at the high school, and next year he's going to be taking on an AP course, a college course, and the course that you are going to be taking, the Global 9 Honors. But we will begin with Miss Sori, who is also in her first year as our part of our counseling team, although it does feel much longer than that. And you've met Miss Sori as she was instrumental in solidifying your schedule for next year. And so without further ado, I will turn to Miss Sori.
Hi, everyone, and thank you, Dr. Greenberg, for that wonderful speech and introduction. I'm going to be your ninth grade counselor next year. I'm very excited to meet all of you again. I was there in the middle school for a little bit a couple months ago just to do some transition work. And I want to congratulate you for getting into Global 9 Honors. It's a challenging course, and it's a pre-AP. After this course, you'll be going into AP World instead of Global 10. But I'm sure everyone's going to be successful. I'm going to let Mr. Beretta take the lead on this. And congratulations again.
All right, so good evening, everybody. Again, my name is Mr. Beretta. I'll be teaching the AP Prep and then the 10th grade AP World History. I'm going to share my screen here a little bit. I have some information for you guys, just kind of run through the course, what should be expected, a couple tips and that sort of thing. From some of our past students. So this should pop up for you guys. Everybody can see that, correct? Hopefully. Yeah, okay, there you go. Thank you. Somebody give me a nod. All right. So, all right, so to start off, well, congratulations, parents. So you've done a really good job at this point. If your child is coming to my class, that's a really, really good sign. All right, so if your child is entering into this class, that means you've pretty much done everything right. So congratulations. So again, this is going to be the honors pre-AP class. There's my name, Mr. Beretta. There's my email address, mberetta@hbschools.us. I'll give you guys some informational packets and stuff along those lines a little bit later to kind of help you get going. All right, so what is this class all about? This is a 2-year curriculum. All right, so in the 9th grade class, we're basically going to be covering everything from 10,000 BCE all the way up to 1450 CE. That's the Common Era, or about 550 years ago. So 9th grade, we cover an absolute mountain of history. One of the assignments that your child is going to have over the summer is going to be reading all about the Paleolithic age. All right, so one of the longest and oldest periods of human history. So they're going to have to read some of the textbook. They're going to have to do some vocabulary, a number of documents and assignments and things along those lines to kind of get them started so they can come in and we can kind of hit the ground running. Because again, we are covering just a massive amount of world history. So then AP World History in 10th grade will pick up right where we left off, that 1450 time period, and go all the way up until present day. So in other words, we are covering all of human history all around the world. We try generally not to talk too much about US history, though it does get kind of worked in here, but the vast majority of this is just basically covering everywhere else through all of history in 2 years. All right, so in Global 9 next year, or the 9 honors, this is basically the units how they're going to be broken up. This basically follows the textbook as well, all the different chapters that we're going to be starting with. So again, that first unit is the first semester of the school year, those early complexes, the Paleolithic, Neolithic age, River Valley civilizations. Your children did learn a little bit about this back in 6th grade, but now we're going to go into extreme depth, learning all about the different technologies, the religions and the cultures and how all of these societies interacted, trade routes and things along those lines. Second unit is classical civilizations. You might remember this from your history, right? Greece and Rome, the Byzantines, early Indian empires, things along those lines. We talk about the beginnings of China, the Great Wall of China, that sort of thing. And we talk about the Silk Road. And then finally in the spring, our last unit is everything from the Middle Ages forward, right? The Byzantine Empire, the Black Plague, which is super poignant. Rise of Islam, these other great religions and things along those lines. We'll talk about, again, like the Age of Exploration, and then talk about the Americas, the Great Encounter, and that sort of thing, and try to get us all the way up to that Renaissance period where the world really starts to change. So again, 9th grade, we're just going to be absolutely tearing through a huge amount of history all over the world, jumping from Europe to Asia to Africa to the Americas and back to Asia and back and forth. So we're kind of all over the place because at times, you know, there's a lot of things happening all over the world at the exact same time. So we wind up jumping back and forth and jumping back and forth and back and forth between one civilization to another, talking about the connections that they make, how they interacted, how they influenced each other, and how that carries all the way forward to modern day. All right, so a ton of information in 9th grade and an absolute mountain of information in 10th grade. So where are we going to get all this information from? A lot of it comes from this glorious textbook. I like to refer to it as the Bentley Book. That's one of the authors. You see there in the top left, Bentley is the name. So it's the Traditions and Encounters book. But generally, I'm always going to refer to it as the Bentley Book. In the classroom, I'm going to call it the Bentley Book. In the Google Classroom, I'll call it the Bentley Book. So if you see an assignment, and you're like, I don't know what it means or why it's saying, you know, read this in the Bentley Book or just read Bentley, whatever, that's what I'm talking about. So there's an enormous amount that they need to read out of this book. This is a college level textbook. So your children are kind of taking a big jump here. They're going from middle school to all of a sudden college level readings. In the very beginning of the year, I am going to try to go a little bit slower to kind of get them used to the language in the book. There's a lot of difficult vocabulary, but once they get the hang of it, things start to pick up speed. So there's a lot of tools and tricks and helpful uses out there. There's all sorts of websites and study guides out there. This book has been around for a really long time. So kids have made all sorts of study guides and cheat sheets for every single chapter. Absolutely use those things. But please, 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 you must make sure that you read the chapters. All right, those chapter outlines are great, but they really only work very well if you actually read the chapter yourself. You can't just, you know, read the study guide and be like, yeah, I got it. That's kind of like reading the Cliff Notes and then saying you read the book, or it's kind of like watching the movie and saying you read the book. Not really the same thing. All right, so just please make sure that they are actually reading those books. The chapters are a little long, anywhere from 20 to 30 pages. And again, it's a college textbook, so there's not a whole lot of pictures in there. All right, it's actually like 20 to 30 pages of actual words. So if they're saying they don't have any homework, that is probably a stretch because they should generally always have something to read. All right, so will this course be difficult? Yes, is the short and simple of it. Yes, there is a lot of work that goes into this. All the kids say it's a lot of work. However, it can be very, very helpful. It can be very, very useful. And obviously it looks great for college. So we're using a college level text. There is homework going to be basically 4 nights a week. There's going to be a number of major projects throughout the year. Oftentimes that first quarter is a little difficult. The kids are in a new school, the kids are in a new place, right? There's suddenly this massive tome of knowledge that they have to read that they may not be used to. Your child may be one of those lucky ones that's like, I've never had to do homework before and I've always had great grades. Please be very careful if that is your child. Oftentimes they get to this point and suddenly find themselves really, really struggling because the level of work, the level of detail that is required, the level of understanding that is required is much more than just that rudimentary surface level. So it is a big jump. And again, I try to make it as smooth as possible. But they really just have to follow along, make sure they're doing the assignments, make sure they're doing the readings, make sure they're doing the vocabulary and things along those lines, and it's going to be absolutely fine. If your child is struggling still at the end of the first quarter and they're getting 70s where you're used to 90s, or maybe they're close to that failing grade, they definitely need to be coming to extra help. They definitely need to be reaching out and talking to me and doing everything they can to kind of fix those little issues. And if we don't see any sort of improvement in grades, then you'll definitely be hearing from me, and we'll be working together to make sure that they stay on path and kind of catch up and keep up with what we're doing. All right, so what tests are they going to be taking? Ninth grade, there are a number of unit exams. So at the end of the first quarter, there's going to be a big unit exam. And then again, at the end of the third quarter, there's a big midterm at the end of the second quarter. So that's going to be the end of January. And then, of course, there's a final exam for ninth grade. In 10th grade, with the AP World History, there again are going to be 2 quarter exams. And then there's going to be a full practice exam for their midterm. And then, of course, in May is when they're going to be taking the AP exam for college credit. It depends on what college they're going to be going to. Most colleges will accept a 3. Some colleges only accept a 4 or a 5 on that AP exam. So you just kind of have to have an idea of where they want to go to college. I realize that might seem really far away, but it really sneaks up on you. So on the other side, I teach all the seniors. And every week I'm like, hey, you guys are 5 weeks away, 6 weeks away from graduation. And, they're like, yeah, panicking. So all of a sudden, those 4 years are just going to zip right by. All right, so there's all your major tests. Basically every quarter, going all the way up into the AP exam. And then at the end of 10th grade, there is a Regents exam. All right. Okay. So what have students said in the past? So some positives and negatives. So a couple little quotes from students. So yes and no, I got a 3. My college doesn't take 3s. However, they enjoyed that in-depth learning. Did they get a lot out of it? Was it worth it? Yes, I got a 4 in the AP exam to earn college credit. I think it's an interesting subject. Yes, I'm looking forward for a way to stand out in my class. AP classes are definitely the best way to stand out on your college transcript, to get yourself to the top of the class. And then a couple other kids said, I think it was worth it because I got a 5 and will not have to take an intro class in college, which is great because you're saving an enormous amount of money. Right? That's always good. Everybody likes saving money. So some advice from those same students: read the textbook. I'm going to say this all the time. And the students that do the best are the ones that, read the book. Use the websites, use the study guides, get those definitions, do all that sort of thing. And then, of course, the effort you put in will be reflected in your grades. And that's from the previous students. All right. So if you guys have any questions, I know I kind of ran through that super fast. But if you have any questions, I'll take some of those questions and help you out.
So first of all, I couldn't help to notice for a car guy, the author of the book is Bentley.
He's Bentley. Yeah, I wish.
Number 2, I assure you that Mr. Beretta doesn't speak as fast as he teaches. He's just excited to meet all the parents. And so I just wanted to reiterate that we're here to support all of your children, and we have built-in systems to make sure that they're successful in these courses. They were offered the opportunity to join the course because we believe that their reading levels and their writing ability is above average, and we believe that they're gonna be successful. And so it's important to state that. If you have any questions, feel free to type those in Q&A. This presentation is also going to be recorded, and we're gonna either email it out or post it on Facebook. If you have any questions regarding your children's schedules or this particular class, feel free to reach out to Ms. Sori or email Mr. Beretta directly if it's course related. If you have any questions for me, I'm the assistant principal, Dr. Greenberg. I am here to make sure that the transition is smooth, and we have many events coming up to welcome your children into the high school experience. So I'm just going to check the Q&A to see if there are any questions. And if there aren't any questions, Ms. Sori and Mr. Beretta, if you'd like to add anything else.
So Mr. Beretta, when is the summer assignment going to be available for pickup? Because I know I may have said one thing, but we can always change that, obviously.
Yeah, so we are collecting the textbooks from the sophomores right now. So once we have enough textbooks, we will put together the summer assignment packets and the textbooks so you can pick them all up in one shot. So it should be, I should have enough textbooks for next week. So they should be available then. Then we can send out an email and let them know to come pick them up. I'm gonna have like a little sign out sheet so you can sign off so that I know everybody got the textbook and the summer assignment so I can keep track and make sure everyone has those things.
Sounds good. We'll send an email out when all that stuff is ready for the families.
Okay.
Well, fantastic. I don't see any questions. So Mr. Beretta, Ms. Sori, thank you so much for taking the time to address our parents in regards to them, their children joining the Global 9 Honors. And thank you so much to parents for joining us for this informational session. It's been a pleasure, and I hope everybody has a great night. Take care.
Thanks for coming, everybody.
See you soon.